Have you ever heard about the game-changing book, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman? If you haven't, well, I'm going to tell you about it, so stay tuned. Hi, this is Sebastian Antonovich. On my 5-minute psychology channel, I talk about mental health, self-development, and psychology. I'm sure you have already heard about emotional intelligence, and if you haven't, well, there is a good idea for you to watch these films on my channel. In there you'll get some basics. But today I would like to talk to you about Daniel Goleman's book called Emotional Intelligence. It was a game changer when I read this book for the first time, and nowadays I'm absolutely sure that literally every psychologist in the whole world has heard about emotional intelligence, and probably they have read this Daniel Goleman's book. If you haven't read this book, I strongly advise you to do so, but to convince you, I have prepared 12 highlights from this book. Ready? Let's do it. Number one mind for thinking and one for feeling. It's almost as if Daniel Goleman was telling us that we have two minds. One is responsible for the analytical thinking, mathematical thinking and understanding, and the other one is responsible for feelings and for emotions. And this mind responsible for feelings lets us notice, understand emotions of ourselves and of other people, but also to change and to manage our own emotions and emotions of others. And to do that, we need a lot of empathy. And once we do that, we are able to use them in our interpersonal relationships. And interpersonal relationships, as you probably know, are very important in our lives because we are surrounded with people. Number two, getting angry right. So everyone can get angry, and that's really easy and that's really common. But the important thing is to get angry with the right person and not with someone else. It's important to get angry for the right reason and to the right degree. We don't want to exaggerate and we don't want to underestimate certain situations. Number three, know thyself. So just like Socrates, Daniel Goleman told us that it's very important to be able to diagnose all of these emotions that come to you in the right moment. So in other words, you need to notice and understand your emotions as they occur, not 2 hours later, not 2 weeks later, but immediately when it happens. It helps us use some very important situations for us to our advantage. Number four, the verbal versus the paraverbal and the non-verbal. It seems that in the process of communicating, the verbal part, which means using the actual words, is not as important as using the paraverbal and the non-verbal. So the paraverbal would be the pace at which we speak, the pauses we make, if we are using a high or low voice, how loudly we are talking. And there is also the non-verbal, so your body language, the eye contact, your gestures. And it seems that these are the most important way of communicating and of managing your interpersonal skills. It seems that emotions, they are conveyed by these non-spoken things. Number five, delay gratification. Would you prefer to get 1 M&M right now or 10 of them in a week time? Apparently, these of us who are able to delay this gratification are able to achieve much better success in life. And this is a trait of character of people of high emotional intelligence, because what we can do is we can stop our impulse, this need of having something. And of course, I gave you an example of an M&M, but you can replace it with anything which is a reward for you, like a new Tesla, like buying a new Apple Watch or a new pair of Adidas Ultra Boost. Whatever need you have, whatever want you have, whatever craving, if you can manage it and stop it until later, there is a big chance that you are a highly emotionally intelligent person. Number six, our emotions can trick us. Even if your IQ is very high, but if your EQ, emotional intelligence, is low, well, it means that your mind will be very good at tricking you into doing some stupid things. And if you want to make a stupid decision, your mind then will tell you, hey, you're doing the right thing. Really, honestly, it's perfectly justified. You should do it. You deserve to do it. And then we hear phrases like, yes, look what you made me do. Now you made me hit you. Of course, this is nothing that an emotionally intelligent person would say, but a person with high IQ but low EQ could actually say that. So emotional intelligence is responsible for making the right decisions in the right moment. Number 7, persuade and not dominate. And it means that emotional intelligence is a characteristic of very good leaders. Now, don't get me wrong, you can be a manager, you can be a good manager without too much emotional intelligence. But if you want to be a true charismatic leader, emotional intelligence is a must. Without it, you will try to dominate people and force them into doing something rather than to convince them to do something and showing them by a good example how things should be done. Now, this is a characteristic of a person of high emotional intelligence. Number 8, shake it off. A person of high emotional intelligence, even if they are under the influence of some strong negative emotions, their emotional intelligence makes it easier for them to manage this particular emotion, and they will be able to get back on the horse quickly. Imagine how important it is, depending of course on your job, on your private life, in many situations when we fail, and this is a natural part of life, failing. So whenever you fail, it's important to be able to learn a lesson and keep on going. This is what emotional intelligence can offer. Number 9, focus. People of high emotional intelligence are very good at concentrating on the job they have to do. I mean, in general, when we do something that we like, it's so much easier to concentrate on it, right? Well, yes, of course. But what if at work you have to do something that you don't like? And it does happen to literally everyone I know. Probably it also happens to you, doesn't it? So in such situations, when you have to do something you don't really like, you are not interested in it, it's really boring to you, well then emotional intelligence kicks in. Emotional intelligence helps you concentrate on the things that you have to do, even if you hate it. And this way, you can become a much more effective employee and much better at things that you do at work. Number 10, believe in yourself. And this is something that emotional intelligence gives us. There have been a number of studies showing that if we compare two different people of the same level of skills, if one of these people is better at believing in themselves and the other one is more doubting their skills, well, even though they are equally skilled, the person believing in themselves will be much more effective at the work that they do. And believing in yourself is also very important when we fail. And I have noticed that in a number of my clients who learn foreign languages, who learn English as a foreign language, for example, and I've noticed that these who believe in themselves more, they participate in all their activities much more often. They use English even in stressful situations. They are not afraid to use their English at work, and therefore they get more practice, more chances to, well, get better at it, and they do become better at using the foreign language. So this is how it works. Number 11, out of control emotions will make you stupid. I have already mentioned people of high IQ. And if this high IQ is accompanied by low EQ, emotional quotient, in such situations, even though we are mathematically smart, we may analyze things well, we are usually not able to use this knowledge and to use these skills. So, for instance, when we have two people with equal IQ, let's say it will be 147 IQ. And if we have a person of low emotional intelligence and high emotional intelligence, both of them have a big chance of getting a well-paid and a good job. And even if they are successful enough, then at a certain point, the only difference between them will be their emotional intelligence, their ability to cooperate as a team member, their ability to communicate, their ability to solve problematic situations. And this is when people of high emotional intelligence bloom. And this is when you can see this true difference between high IQ and high EQ. Number 12, emotions kill. Of course, we are talking about out of control emotions. If you are able to control your emotions, you are safe. But if your emotional intelligence is low, then if you are often under the influence of such feelings as anxiety or being scared, being afraid of something, being angry, in such situations in your body, two hormones, adrenaline and cortisol, are secreted almost non-stop, and it can bring you to a risk of heart failure and other circulatory systems problems. And actually, out of control emotions are equally deadly as smoking. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and let me know in the comments what, from your perspective, is the most important aspect of emotional intelligence, and share your experience with developing your emotional intelligence. I'll see you next time.